How are you keeping yourself?
Yeah, very positive. It's been super busy. With the passing of Acharya Marsh,
Yes.
I've been talking a lot. I've just been feeling more the need to communicate, and so
Yeah.
it's been kind of a marathon the last few days, just all day, every day, talking with devotees around the world. That's been one positive thing which has come out of this,
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. But I feel fortunate to be connected to
Yeah.
this wonderful mission and wonderful community. And we're fortunate, since I was reflecting, since Gurudev left, we've lost quite a few stalwarts, Srila Charja Maharaj and Srila Shava Prabhu was another one, Yudamanyu Prabhu was another one, Siddhanti Maharaj, Bhuvan Mohan Prabhu in Brazil. There's been quite a few, who were real pillars in our mission. And we're feeling their loss very much, but at the same time, it makes us appreciate more the ones that we have left.
Yes. Yes.
Janardhan Maharaj and Ashram Maharaj, Madhusudana Maharaj and others. I feel great. I'm feeling much heightened appreciation
Yes.
for them
That's
at this time. And
Yes.
it also brings home the necessity for us to take advantage of the time that we have,
Yes. Yeah, and connect.
Yeah. Because we don't know when we can lose that, I'm happy I did a few interviews with like Yudamanyu Prabhu. Yudamanyu Prabhu, he's like a great pioneer in our mission. And he started our mission. He was originally in ISKCON, then he came to Srila Maharaj's shelter, and he started the movement. He introduced Srila Maharaj's mission in South Africa, and then he was also one of the founders in USA, in California, and then he also brought it to China.
Oh my God! Okay.
He was like his own Krishna conscious startup mission. And I was very happy I got to do an interview with him before he left. And yeah, those moments that we have are very precious, and you feel, and you're like Srila Shava Prabhu, he was so, his association was so valuable to me. He was the person who first inspired me in Krishna consciousness, and he gave me so much wonderful advice and guided me at many crucial moments in my practicing life. And so now I feel so blessed to be able to draw upon that, and to try to share something of that to others. And yeah, there's one talk of Srila Sridhar Maharaj where somebody's saying to him, before we had Prabhupada and now we have you, and this person was kind of speaking in this I would say like a bit of kind of like a sentimental way, like, oh, everything's so wonderful and happy and la-di-da. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he responded a little sharply, and he said, but I'll be gone tomorrow.
Oh God.
and he said, Swami Maharaj was here and he left. Now I'm here, but I'll be gone very soon. And then he said, everyone will have to stand upon their own leg. Everyone will have to stand upon their own 2 feet. So, there's always Srila Saraswati Thakur, he liked to say religion is proper adjustment, So, Krishna consciousness, it's real Krishna consciousness is built upon the spirit of Sharanagati, which is about dependence, healthy dependence. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a blind or weak kind of dependence, you know. So there's, you know, there's a difference between weak dependence and healthy, strong dependence, you know. So you know, we can't just be dependent in a blind way or in an emotional way, you know. It's the dependence that we're cultivating, it's connected to a more subtle sphere than just like, you know, a baby or a child who's following blindly whatever their parents tell them, you know. So, you know, Srila Maharaj's point was, you know, we have to be able to develop our own understanding and discrimination in Krishna consciousness. So, you know, just to say, you know, it's so important that we take advantage of the time that we have, because everything can change within a moment, you know, really. And you know, the passing of Acharya Maharaj just now is a good example of that. So, you know, whatever access we have now, you know, to any person or resources who, you know, that can inspire us, that nourish us in Krishna consciousness, we have to really make the most of it, take advantage of it, you know, in a conscious way, you know, not just blindly holding on, but really trying to hear, you know, what are these persons saying actually, you know, and how can I really imbibe that within my heart and apply that in my life in a living way. You know, I have to be able to ready to face circumstances where I don't have that to lean on, and I have to draw within what I've developed within myself. So yeah, these are just some of my thoughts over these last 2 days, and the you know, the realization also of, you know, how much we need sadhu sangha in a living form, you know, not to be isolated, you know. Those are just
Thanks for that. Thank you. That's great to hear. Thank you.
Chintamani Devi's also joined us. Dandavats. And Jayade, Dandavats. And Varun is also here. Dandavats. Marco's here. And hello, Marco. We have Rukmini tuning in from Florida. And somebody else here for the first time. Who is this here? Hello. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing
I'm
good.
Sonia. This is my girlfriend Sonia. My name is Colin, and Seamus. I'm from Limerick. She's from Seville in Spain. And Seamus brought us in here. I know Seamus from Limerick. So we're very, very happy and honoured to be here, chatting and listening to you.
So you've joined some of the programs, the gatherings in Limerick, huh?
Yeah. I was there for about I'd say 5 or 6 months, maybe, or 4, 5, 6 months. Yeah. I really very much so enjoyed it. I've been living over here since last October. Since then, we've been working on opening up a yoga studio. Hopefully we'll be able to do a night of chanting maybe and attract some people around here. We hope so, because I haven't seen any meetups with Krishna consciousness or chanting or anything in Seville here in Spain.
Oh, so wait, so you're actually calling from Spain right now?
Yeah.
I see. You've moved from Limerick to Spain.
Yeah. I moved here last October. Yeah.
Okay, I see. We do have some friends in Spain, but Spain is a big country. I don't know how close they are. We can help you. I can maybe Seamus can give you my WhatsApp, and I can try and connect you with we have few devotees scattered there. I can
Yeah.
try and put you in touch with them.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Thank you.
Mhm. And Rukmini, how are you? You've had your new child.
I have my new baby. She born on Ramanavami, and we began.
Wow. How auspicious.
She's doing great.
What is her name?
So Devi,
Devi. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, congratulations. We have a
Yeah.
new family member in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so sorry, your name is Colin.
Yeah. Colin.
Okay.
Colin.
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 Okay. Okay. And sorry, your girlfriend's name?
Sonia.
Tanya. Okay. All right. Well, so you're relatively new to our mission and teachings. Is there anything in particular you'd like to ask, or particular topic you'd like to hear elaborated upon?
No, but right now I'm just happy to be here and listen. Maybe for sure in the near future, maybe we'll come up with something, unless you have something you'd like to ask.
I would like to listen.
Okay. Well, does anyone else have a suggestion? Chinmoy, would you have any suggestions?
Of course I do, but does anybody else?
Maybe Chintamani? Any suggested topics?
I'm going to refer to Chinmoy Prabhu because he's more senior to let him ask.
Well, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, as one surrenders unto me, I reward them accordingly. And that's easy enough to understand. But then he says, oh, Partha, all men follow my path. That I don't really, doesn't seem like all men follow his path. So I'm trying to understand what he means by that.
Well, I'm trying to remember the Sanskrit. The Ye yata mam prapadyante tam sataiva vajameham mama vartmanavartante. Okay, yes. All men, howsoever someone approaches me, I am also approaching them. You know, everyone is actually following me. Well, I mean, we can think of this world as a place of reformation, you know, or a correctionary institute. You know, this world is really the Lord's mercy, because he has given all, our source is Krishna, right? He is our divine source. He has created us, and he gave us the capacity of free will, right? He has given us that gift of free will, and the real purpose of our existence is to love him and to serve him. That is the natural, wholesome, and healthy existence of all of us, to live in a happy reciprocation of love and service with Sri Krishna, the most beautiful, charming, and original expression of divinity. However, he does not force that upon us. He's given us the free will to choose whether we will, move towards that of our own accord and automatic natural attraction, or if we want to rebel, we want to exert some independence, we want to compete with him, you know, we want to be in the center, we want to be number one, you know, he's also very kindly facilitated that, made some arrangement for the small percentage of souls who want to explore that option, so to speak. And so he has, you know, this, in one sense, you could say this world is like a playground for all of those souls, where they can live out their fantasies. They can live out their fantasies of being number one, you know, of being in control, of being top of the world, of having everything. However, there are also laws in place which are regulating this world, you know, so that things don't go completely out of hand. You know, there's some natural cycle of action and reaction, because, you know, when somebody acts independently, then they become responsible for the reactions to their activity. And so, you know, that's karma, you know, in a word, you know. So the, you know, the system of karma and various laws of nature, you know, they are regulating this world. And so in that way, you know, although there's this freedom here to do what you want, there's also a level of correction which is taking place in the background, you know, because if, you know, if you are behaving selfishly, you are creating disturbance in the environment. Okay, you're given the freedom to do that. You're given the freedom to encroach upon the rights of others in order to establish your own enjoyment or position or whatever. You're given that freedom, but then you also have to learn that you have to pay for that. Like a child, you know, the parent may say, a parent may tell the child, you know, don't touch that, you know, that fire burns, right? But the child may need to learn that for themselves, you know? So, you know, it's like, you have the freedom to touch. I'm not going to force, because, you know, sometimes parents, they can be too forceful in telling their children what to do and what not to do, right? And that can backfire. So, you know, other parents, they sometimes apply the strategy of, you know, giving some encouragement in the right direction, but also allowing their kids to figure things out for themselves, you know, to learn the consequences of their actions themselves. And they have the freedom, they have freedom of expression, and they also have the freedom to come to the right conclusion themselves. And that's a beautiful transaction, because it allows for, you know, that's really an expression of love. You know, it's not, you know, in a real, you know, parental transaction, it's not based on wanting to control the other person. You know, like you see that in some parents, you know, like you see the exchange that's going on between the parent and the child, and you realize this is actually a control issue. Like, you know, these parents, they're just trying to exert their superiority over the kids. Like the principle of just trying to help their kids, that's been forgotten. And this is just about them establishing themselves. You know, you see that sometimes. But in parents who are really just genuinely interested in helping their kids, then you know, they're not interested in, it's not about trying to control their children or trying to have their children acknowledge their superior position, but it's about genuinely trying to help their children come to the right path. So parents who fall more into that category, then, you know, are sincerely, they may try to indicate to their children or gently tell them this is the right thing to do, but they won't force them or control them. They'll give them space to work it out for themselves. You know, maybe the kids need to learn the hard way. So you know, parents, you know, wise parents, they may, you know, allow that for their children. So in the same way, you know, the Lord Krishna, he doesn't want to force anyone to come to him, because that's not what it's about. It's not that he wants a bunch of automatons who are just following him out of duty or obligation. But you know, he wants souls who genuinely love him and are genuinely attracted to him to approach him for a relationship of love, an exchange of love and divine service. So therefore, in this world, he allows that freedom for souls to choose their own actions, to have the freedom to express selfishness, and then to learn themselves what are the consequences, to be corrected for that, and then have the freedom to move towards, you know, what is really the true wealth and need of their soul. So, you know, therefore, you know, so the Lord, he's arranged this whole world as like a playground where, you know, we can all build our sand castles and pretend that we're king of the world. And naturally we'll learn through the regulating mechanism of karma that, you know, it's not such a good idea to live like that. It's not helpful for anyone. It's not fulfilling in the end also. And then he's also sending his divine instruction through the scriptures, you know, through the revelation given in the scriptures, and through the agency of the living scripture, the sadhus, the saints, who are, you know, and these are all at you know, at varying degrees of substance. They are giving some path towards him, you know, and so the Vedas are you know, they're casting this very broad net, giving everyone some chance, you know, from the lowest level of realization to the highest level of realization. The Vedas are accommodating everyone and giving everyone a chance to make progress. You know, the Vedas have come. You know, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you know, I am the Veda. The Veda came from me. You know, I am the giver of the Veda. And the Vedas are telling us 1,000,001 things. You know, so he's laying out so many different paths there in the Vedas. Not only that, but even atheism, that's also given by Krishna. He's also backing those who want to be totally against him. He's also backing. You can't escape him, basically. You can't escape him. You know, he sent Lord Shiva as Shankaracharya, who's propagating impersonalism, you know, who's propagating, you know, it's like a disguised type of atheism, you know, that, yeah, God exists, you know, I'm God and you're God and we're all God together. You know, so for those who are attracted to that type of stance, he's also giving his backing there. And you know, this is serving many purposes. You know, this is also a kind of filter system, you know, to separate, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, the less diseased from the more diseased, you know, so the more authentic followers of the Vedas, they can come forward. You know, Krishna's coming as Buddha. Krishna's sending Shiva as Shankara. You know, this is like at a lower end of the theistic spectrum, and then at the higher end, he's sending, you know, so many you know, Vaishnava acharyas, and sometimes appearing himself in different avatars in order to preach the, you know, spread the highest conception of truth. So, you know, whether people are aware of it or not, they're following like what path the Lord has outlined in this world. You know, whether it's theistic or atheistic or material or spiritual, you know, all of these paths, all of these pathways, you know, they've all been laid out by him. All the systems that we are under, you know, under the influence of, they've all been put in place by him. You know, he's also existing as the Paramatma, you know, within the hearts of every soul, you know, witnessing everything and dispensing the reactions to everyone's activity. So, you know, in the background, he is there in so many different ways, you know, laying out the path for every individual soul. And you know, whatever you choose to believe, you can find confirmation for it, right? Because he's you know, he's providing all of that, you know, like you know, everybody, no matter what they believe, they find a sign for it, right? You know, you can talk to the craziest person and they'll have a sign, you know, that they've had some mystic revelation, or this happened or that happened. You know, everybody can find some confirmation for what they believe, you know. But you know, this is all, you know, Krishna, he's also referred to as a mystic. Srila Srinivas refers to him as a mystic hypnotist, right? He refers to mystic hypnotism, you know. So, you know, on whatever path, you know, we are on, there will be some confirmation that will come for that, you know, and it's connected to Krishna ultimately, whether it's direct connection or indirect connection. You cannot escape the fact that it is connected to him. Yeah, I mean, you know, like from the broadest vision, then a soul will see, well, actually everything's just going on fine in the world. You know, there's no need to interfere. You know, this is one vision that may be felt by a realized soul. You know, everything's going on as it is supposed to go on by the will of the Lord. You know, and there's no need to interfere with that. No. You know, that is one angle of vision. And you know, it is a special delegation of the Lord, you know, that someone will act as a preacher, you know, or as an acharya, to try to, you know, to recognize what is wrong, and then to try to correct it. You know, because otherwise, you know, one may have that vision that actually everything's going on by the will of the Lord. Nothing is outside of him. You know, souls think that they are independent, but they're not independent. Everything is going on by his sanction, and everything is all right. Everything is fine. You know, that is one angle of vision. And that is why, I mean, like the key thing to take from that verse is the importance of sincerity, you know, of sincere, earnest desire to follow the Lord's, you know, deepest intention. You know, what is that? You know, there's the direct and there's the indirect approach, you know, but you know, what is the direct approach? We want to follow that. You know, what is his true desire? You know, anukul yasya. What is it? The Rupa Goswami's verse. Anya bilashi dushunyam yana karmajanavitam anukul yena Krishna nushilanam bhaktir uttama. Right? This famous verse describing the nature of pure devotion, uttam bhakti, the highest type of devotion. You know, that which is free from the coverings of selfish desire. I mean, if we just boil it down to the most simple form, the various forms of, pure devotion is what is devoid of the coverings, the avritam, the coverings of any form of selfish desire. And not only that, but is truly in the interest of Krishna. What is anukul, what is favorable, what is pleasing to Krishna. We want to follow that. Krishna saying in that verse, we can take it in this way also. If you want to be cheated, I'll cheat you. If you want the truth, I'll give you the truth. If you want to be cheated, then I'll cheat you. I'll give you whatever I want. It's like this word Om, right? Om is described as the seed, the original sound vibration, which is like a zip file containing all the knowledge of the Vedas. And what does that Om mean? It means yes. It means yes, right? So the Vedas, they're a big yes, like literally whatever you want, yes. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to believe, whatever you want to achieve, yes. The answer is yes. And you can find confirmation for it, everywhere. So Krishna is very, very tricky like this, He wants to give us what we want, and ultimately he will give us what we want. So it's really down to us to determine within ourselves that we really want that highest thing, at the expense of our, our present comfort and prestige, etc., etc. We want the highest truth. We want the deepest connection, and we truly want to please you, Lord. That it's not, I don't want this to be about me, but I want this to be about you, my Lord. And how can I please you? And how can I serve you? Krishna is very tricky. He's very tricky. Is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita that when it's like there's like this game that goes on. At one level, Krishna will tell you, give up everything and come and surrender to me, right? And it all sounds very simple. But then if you actually do that, then he's going to create many diversions, many distractions for you. Then it's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita that if Krishna wants to evade somebody, then he'll send them some bhakti and mukti. Bhakti meaning material enjoyment, mukti meaning liberation, freedom from this world, which is a much more subtle and insidious type of distraction than just, material enjoyment, which is obviously undesirable for any basic practitioner of spirituality. So, Krishna, it's explicitly told in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna's got this whole, what do you call it? Like an obstacle course going on, like, he like Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, we can put on the doors of our temples, welcome, no entrance. So, there's this big public announcement, there's the big clarion call, everybody come, this is for everyone. And then if you actually approach, it's like, oh, well, actually, not so easy. And are you sure you really want this? There's lots of nice things going on over there, So, it's a tricky game, and it really comes down to our own sincerity, our own sincere and earnest desire. Otherwise, if there's any small desire for extraneous things of this world, then that can be supplied to us. Krishna can easily give that to us. It's not a problem for him. So we, the real necessity is for us to be clear within ourselves. This is what I want, and I want nothing less than exclusive surrender. The value of that has to be really deeply felt within our hearts. We must really come to feel that. you know, that everything else, you know, any type of position in this world, any type of prestige, any type of enjoyment or pleasure on a gross or subtle level, it is all very, very negligible. You know, that's something that can't just be like a vague idea or vague aspiration in our minds, but it has to be something very concrete, something very deeply felt. You know, it needs to become like, you know, like we need air to breathe, and like we need food to eat and water to drink. Like that's how deeply this feeling needs to be within our hearts. You know, I mean, at the moment, it's like, you know, at least for myself, it's all a bit wishy-washy, you know, you know, oh, that's such a nice idea. I really like that idea. You know, that like you know, the word guru means heavy, right? So the guru is described as heavy. You know, why? Because because you know, they are heavy in the truth. They are fixed, like a mountain is fixed. You know, many storms and winds and rains can come, but the mountain is very fixed. So in the same way, the guru is fixed, heavy in the truth, in the absolute truth, the highest truth. They're not moved by the fleeting ideas of this world. You know? Whereas the conditioned souls of this world, you know, we are described as lagu, which means light. You know, we are very light, like a feather. We're floating, floating in the wind, you know. Oh, this idea is very nice. Oh, that idea is also very nice. Oh, look over here, you know. No, this is cool, you know, like sometimes we'll joke about like the, you know, marketplace, you know, marketplace of gurus or marketplace of conceptions. You know, it's like we go shopping, like, oh, this is a cool idea, and this is also a cool idea. Oh, check this out, you know. So, you know, like, you know, okay, we've all come with some level of faith and dedication, but how deep does it run, actually? You know, how deeply rooted is it within us? You know, it is still a light thing. It is still a light thing. And this is why we need challenges and obstacles and difficulties upon our path, because they will allow us it will enable us to realize, you know, how deep you know, us and also our divine guardians, you know, to see, you know, how deep does our conviction run? How quickly will we be satisfied with some cheap imitation? You know, some we got some you know, we're thrown some distraction and we're happy. We're thrown some cheap imitation and we're satisfied. Okay, you can eat that. You're happy with the cheap thing, you can take it and go away, you know. So, you know, Krishna will always give us what we want. So we have to, you know, the necessity for us is to become deeper in our faith and stronger in our conviction that I really don't want anything else. You know, as Mahaprabhu prays, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitam Jagadish Kamaye, Mama Janmani, Janmanishware, Bhavatad Bhaktir, Haituki Twai. You know, I'm not interested in wealth. I'm not interested in followers, popularity, position. I'm not interested in sense pleasure. And on the other side, I'm also not, you know, in a nutshell, whatever this world has to offer in all of its, you know, glittering forms, I'm not interested in that. And then on the other side, I'm also not interested in being free of this world. You know, a more sober person realizes, oh, whatever pleasure is to be had in this world, it has reactions. So then, you know, those souls, they may aspire to be free from this world, you know, for moksha, for mukti, to be free from the suffering of this world. But this is also, not within the plane of, real faith and love. This is outside of that's what I want to say. It's outside of the culture of love. And this is really the essence of Mahaprabhu's movement and what we are aspiring for. It is we can talk about what it isn't, but more significantly, what is it? It's about divine love. Mahaprabhu is saying, I don't want this, I don't want that. And what that's actually doing is emphasizing how valuable this gift is of divine love, of the prema dharma, prema bhakti. How glorious is that if somebody gets some touch of that, they feel consequently that the greatest treasures and the greatest experiences of this world, they're all like garbage. How is it that somebody can say that? What everyone in this world lives for and dies for and kills for, what so many poets have written and sung about, what everybody's running after in this world in various forms. If somebody can say, I'm not interested in any of that at all, then that means they've encountered something infinitely more valuable, infinitely more satisfying. And that is prema bhakti, that is divine love. So, this is the essence of Mahaprabhu's movement, Mahaprabhu's gift. It is the purest expression of love. It is, unconditional love. So, on the positive side, that's what we are trying to move towards. That is the wonderful prize at the end for those who can become free of any other tinge of aspiration within their hearts. And our deepest heart, as Gurudev has said very beautifully, it won't be satisfied by anything less than that. Gurudev mentioned very beautifully the example of Gopa Kumar. Gopa Kumar, it's described how he's moving from one plane to another plane to another plane. And then finally, he, after much trial and tribulation and adventure, he reaches Vrindavan and the loving embrace of Krishna. And there's that beautiful painting we've all seen, where Krishna personally goes to welcome that new soul. And Gopakumar faints in ecstasy. Krishna also faints in ecstasy. And all the onlookers, they're completely astonished. Who is this new boy? And Krishna's so excited, so ecstatic, so overwhelmed to meet him. So Gurudev said, Gopakumar, he was not satisfied. Oh, thank you. Chintamani and Jaidev are showing us the beautiful painting, wonderful painting. So Gurudev said very beautifully, Gopakumar, he was not satisfied until he reached the embrace of Krishna. So, similarly, if we are fortunate, if we have some spark of real sincerity within us, then although we are polluted at present, and although we'll have to go through much trial and test, all of that will serve to purify us and bring us closer, to what is our highest ideal. All of the dirt within us, it will be purged out. And it may be a painful process, it may be a humiliating process, but we shouldn't be afraid of that. We shouldn't be afraid of that. We must continue in the mood of a student. These are just some, I'm just speaking in a scattered way, Chinmoy Prabhu, was that helpful at all?
That's very helpful, Didi.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Varun, I saw Varun, I don't know how to access the chat here on the phone, but could you say your It was about karma and the disciples and the guru.
Oh, yeah. So in connecting with Krishna through a bona fide guru, what is meant by the guru takes on the disciple's karma?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there are different ways of considering this. You know, I mean, in just there's the relative aspect and there's the absolute aspect. You know, this is how Srila Sridhar Maharaj has explained this. That, you know, yes, on some level, from a relative consideration, then the guru may have to deal with some reaction, some heaviness because of his disciples. But from the highest vision, from the absolute vision, you know, and you know, in particular, if the guru is a real sadhu guru, a genuine, authentic guru, in, you know, connected in the real channel, then from the absolute perspective, you know, they cannot be affected by that. You know, they're you know, the real guru, the genuine guru, is existing on a spiritual platform, and so they cannot truly be affected by these things. You know, but on some level, on the relative plane, in some temporary way, then there may be some type of reaction. And I also, you know, I mean, I heard Gurudev once. He was, you know, it was something Gurudev considered sometimes. I mean, like Gurudev, and who's Guru, you know, who's Srila Govinda Maharaj? You know, we consider Srila Govinda Maharaj to be not just the soul of this world, but an eternally liberated soul who's descended from the spiritual world. So, you know, what is his level and capacity? But still, you know, in his humility, I did hear him once express that, you know, sometimes he did feel some, in extreme cases, he felt some hesitation to accept persons with very heavy sin attached to them. The case I heard him mention was someone who had previously been involved with the slaughter of cows, been involved in cow killing. And, you know, cow killing, it's a particularly heavy sin. And Gurudev, he felt some hesitation because he said, I don't know if I can digest that. You know, he was doubting his own capacity to digest that type of sin. Yeah, actually it was kind of funny because it was actually someone who had received first initiation from somebody else. And, you know, it was and I was surprised because already that person hadn't been involved in that activity for some time, and they'd already received first initiation from someone else. And then they came to Gurudev for second initiation. And so Gurudev, he kind of like made some excuse. And I mean, you know, probably Gurudev had some other reasons for not wanting to, you know, Gurudev wasn't eager to be a big guru, you know, and, you know, he wouldn't necessarily, I mean, for the most part, Gurudev was extremely generous, but it was a transaction that was based on his mercy and love and compassion. It wasn't a transaction based on his desire to promote himself or become a bigger guru. It was never about that. And so in some cases, he would express, for different reasons, some hesitation or reluctance to accept someone. So in this case, I expect there were some other reasons involved as well. But anyway, this is just, I heard this in a recording of Gurudev. And so this person who previously been involved in cow slaughter is asking Gurudev for second initiation. So Gurudev, he kind of like, you know, he didn't directly say no, but he kind of like made a bit of a channel to get out of it. And he said, because, you know, second initiation involves fire sacrifice, right? And so the person who used to do the fire sacrifices was Chinmoy Prabhu, Aranya Maharaj, who was, at that time, he was Krishna Sharan Prabhu. So he was the one who would, organize all that, like the Vedic ritual stuff. And so he wasn't in the mat at the time. Of course, Gurudev was perfectly capable of doing it, but he would delegate that to somebody else. Gurudev was never one to be so interested in like the traditional Vedic stuff. He would delegate that stuff. So anyway, so Gurudev, so Krishna Sharan wasn't in the temple at the time. So Gurudev told that devotee, well, Krishna Sharan Prabhu, he's not here right now. And, if you like, I can give you the initiation now and you can come back later to do the fire sacrifice. Or we can just leave it now altogether. And some other time, we can do it, And so that devotee decided just to leave it for now. And they didn't ask again, And so Gurudev said that Gurudev said that Guru Maharaj had helped him. And he said, because Guru Maharaj changed his mind. Guru Maharaj could see I didn't want to give him initiation. So Guru Maharaj changed his mind. So anyway, that's just kind of like a related story, to show, Gurudev could be a little cautious, and he felt some natural humility in regards to considering his own capacity to digest, certain degrees of of sin that prospective disciples would be carrying. But anyway, the main point is what I said, that from the absolute perspective, there's no question of that, for the genuine guru, that they are on a spiritual platform and that cannot affect them. But in some temporary way, there can be some reaction. And there also was one occasion I saw in Calcutta, when our Gurudev, in his last period, when our Gurudev was in poor health and was showing poor health. It is, we won't say, oh, our Gurudev is suffering or our Gurudev is sick, but we're careful in that. We will say he's showing sickness. It is not something intrinsic or something coming, as a reaction, as karmas with ourselves, but it is like a covering, So in his last period, Gurudev was showing sickness, and I remember one devotee, one American lady, asked Gurudev, quite publicly, Gurudev, and with this concern, Gurudev, is this happening because of, the bad activity of your disciples? And maybe Chinmoy Prabhu was there, and Gurudev said yes, and I don't remember him elaborating on that much. I remember him just kind of keeping it simple, and like I felt like he was saying, like, so wake up, everyone, think about what you're doing. Chinmoy Prabhu, do you want to comment on that?
No, but that was my feeling too. He was saying, yes, be better. I'm going to say yes, this is affecting me, but what I really want to tell you is be a better devotee. Yes,
exactly. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that, Varun. Is that helpful? Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, it's and also that the guru can take on so much, and like what Chinmoy just said, we also have to make our effort as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can, that's the most progressive way we can take that idea, like, let's not be a burden, for our gurus, let's try to be the best that we can. Okay, I saw there was another question that popped up from somebody. I'm not sure who it was. Okay, Marco, great.
Yeah.
Marco always has very thoughtful things to say.
Well, During what you explained in your answer to the first question, you mentioned karma. You just gave the example of a kid touching the fire and having his reward at once in a moment. So my question is, why natural laws are very fast, you have back what you do very quickly, and karma laws are not that fast? So you may, for example, walk in a wrong path for a long time before you have back your reactions.
You know, in Bhagavad Gita, when this question of karma comes up, the first thing that Krishna says is, it's very complicated. and he says, even very wise souls, they have difficulty with understanding this. You know, karma is not something that's just playing out within one short span of time, but it may be something that's playing out over many lifetimes. You know, it's not just that, you know, it's not as simple as what we're doing in this life is equating what we're experiencing, but you know, it's a very complex system, and it's including, you know, it's encompassing what's gone on through many lifetimes. You know, it's very complicated. You know, and what we're going through, and you know, what's the source of that? Is it that last lifetime or something that happened 10 lifetimes ago? And it's a very complicated system. Yeah, it's not so simplistic. You know, it's involving our you know, impressions and desires and tendencies being enforced over many lifetimes. So it's you know it may be that that some type of, you know we hear that expression, like instinct karma, right? it may happen like that, but it may not. You know, there's so much going on. I mean, you know, every individual soul has such a complex blueprint, we can say. Every soul has a very complex karmic blueprint, and to analyze that would be you know, that would be something very difficult, and something that an expert only could do. You know, why is this happening at this time, that happening at that time? Why is this not happening at this time or not happening at that time? That's all, you know, part of a very complex system, and involving a very complex and elaborate history, you know, behind every individual soul. So yeah, does that answer your question?
It seems I have to wait more knowledge, or I don't know what to say. I just don't understand why natural laws are reactions are so fast. I'm not saying why my karma is slowing and your maybe is different. I mean, generally speaking, karma is not going back. Reaction is not happening very fast. If this is out of mercy, I should know before if I am taking a wrong path. You know.
I'm a little confused actually what your question actually is. It sounds like you put in another question there.
No, I don't understand what I don't understand why karma is not equal to natural laws.
So are you saying it seems like it's not very merciful that we're not getting instant reactions? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, I get it now. So you're saying, like, why doesn't the Lord like kind of like flag us, like, hey, you did something wrong, and this is what you get as a result? Okay, yeah, I'm following you now. I mean, in one place, I'm trying to think exactly what Srila Sridhar says. You know, on some, like, one example I've heard is it's like when a surgeon is performing an operation under anesthesia, under anesthesia, you know. What I mean to say is, like underground, there are subtle adjustments that are taking place, you know. It's just like let's take this example. You know, we all go through so many complicated situations, relationships, etc., which tweak our consciousness in different ways, right? And it's happening in a very subtle way, you know? And it's a kind of thing that, you know, these are like subtleties that over a long period of time you reflect back upon and think, oh, I can understand how I changed as a result of that. You know, I can understand how I learned something as a result of that. You know, these are all, you know, it's like on a subconscious level, different experiences that we face, they are adjusting our consciousness in different ways. You know, there's one, I'm trying to remember the exact thing Srila Sridhar says, you know, but it's like along these lines that, you know, if there wasn't that element still of, what is his exact words? But essentially what he's saying, like if there wasn't that element of what is it he exactly says? But he says it's not that it's just about like vengeance, you know. If there wasn't this type of like subtle adjustment going on and freedom to move towards a better choice, you know, if that element of free will wasn't there, it would just be vengeance. It would just be about plain vengeance. That's not what Krishna is interested in. And I mean, the way I see it, what you're describing, that actually involves more force, because it's like, you know, it's like, hey, you did this wrong, now you have to pay. Like, that's not Krishna's program. You know, it's something much more subtle than what he's presenting, and, you know, the facility that he's presenting and that's operating, it's much more subtle than that, because, you know, what you're saying, that's just like a blatant punishment program. You know, you did wrong and now you have to deal with wrong. But that's not the idea. No, you know, there has to be much more space, you know, for the individual to truly choose this, to move towards this, you know. I mean, it's like what you're saying, it's like a kid does something wrong and then the teacher slaps them, you know, this immediate thing. Then there's no space there. Then the kid is just going to be acting on the basis of fear, you know, like, oh, if I behave badly, my teacher's going to slap me, so I have to behave well. You know, that's not what is wanted here. You know, that's a low level way of motivating somebody. So, you know, this is a broad, wide-reaching, long-term program of the Lord, which is trying to facilitate the real movement of loving attraction and real desire, to move towards the Lord. But if you just tell someone, or, you did this wrong, and so you have to be punished for that, then everything becomes fear-based, and that's not what this is about, so the system has to be a lot more subtle and yeah. The souls, they need to really have the freedom to express their desires, and to have the space to learn better in a more gradual and natural way, and truly out of their own desire, not just because they're afraid of a reaction or punishment. Does that make sense, Marco? Does that clear things up?
Yes. Now, the things you said.
Huh? I can't hear you.
I said the things you said are very clear. Yes, I understand now.
Okay. Yeah.
Because in this time that is given, we have the chance to develop attraction for Krishna.
Yes. I mean, I can also say that it's not that the Lord doesn't also outline that too. He does, I mean, that's described in the Vedas, these warnings are given in the Vedas. So, it's not that warning isn't there. I mean, maybe like in terms of our daily experience, it's not happening automatically. But at the same time, it's not that the Lord is not like telling us about this whole program. He's telling us about that in the Vedas. And also for those people who are at a very base level, there is one program to motivate them on the basis of fear, if only to keep them from engaging in very extreme, atrocious acts like murder, rape, to try and safeguard society from going completely AWOL. Srila Bhakti Thakur, he describes 4 different motivations for action, fear, duty, fear, then the next one is gain, self-gain, personal gain, then duty, and then love, and so the Vedas in different strains, they're in different aspects, parts of it, they're appealing to persons of all of these mentalities, the lowest one being fear, and the highest being love, So yes, in the background, there is definitely, encouragement along those lines for a particular section. But it's not being forced, the scriptures are giving you options, and then we have the choice. We have the freedom to choose. Yeah, and yeah, the Lord, for someone who wants to, dance their dance, the Lord allows them to do that for some time. It's mentioned, like in the description. Actually, tomorrow. Oh, I should have said something about Nishinga Day. I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Didi, maybe we should have another Zoom meeting tomorrow then.
No problem. So tomorrow is the divine appearance day of Lord Nishingadev, who is one avatar of Krishna. And there's a wonderful description of how he comes to defeat this demon, Hiranyakashipu. And so there's a description of this fight that goes on. And it's quite funny because in the beginning, the Shringadev allows Hiranyakashipu to think he's getting the upper hand. Hiranyakashipu, he's so envious of the Lord. He wants to be God. And it's like, why spoil the fun for him? And like, you don't want to spoil it right away. Hiranyakashipu has gone through years of extreme austerities, to gain the supernatural power. He's fought so many battles against others to increase his power. And, like he's been through a lot, to have some illusion that he's number one. Like, why spoil the fun by removing that illusion right away, and let him enjoy it for a little bit, So it's very funny, the description when the Shringadev comes and begins this battle to destroy the Hiranyakashipu, who's been terrorizing the three worlds for however many hundreds of years. So they're having this fight, and so the Shringadev is kind of playing with him a little bit and letting him think that he's winning. And it's funny, it mentions there, all the demigods are watching from the sky, and they're like, like if you're watching a football game and you're like on the edge of your seat, like, oh, he's on, oh no. So they're all like panicking a little, like why isn't he just killing him? Like, what's going on? Like, they're fearful a little bit, So, there's a bit of a play and a bit of a game that goes on. So you see that in the world as well. Like people who get to some type of pinnacle of power and position, and you see how intoxicated and mad they can become from that. And they get their opportunity to shine for some time. They're living in this grand illusion of their own superiority, and they're allowed to have that for some time, but it doesn't have any real basis. And so eventually it vanishes in a puff of smoke, and that's something that we've seen many times. So, yeah. But it's a nice question, and it's brought out a nice point of discussion. I see we have a Seva Rupa Devi Dasi here. Dandavat. Happy to have you with us from South Africa.
Thanks, Vishakha Devi. Dandavat to all.
How are you doing? I know this is a very difficult time. How are you coping with everything?
You mean with the whole COVID situation?
I meant with the passing of Srila Karjamaj.
Sorry. Well, I'm so new that I hardly had, I was still getting to know everybody. So yes, I also, I can understand it was quite a huge loss. And I think we also had some programs here in South Africa, well, at Lenasia, the temple in Johannesburg. So I also went and observed, but still getting in touch with what the true meaning is, and yeah, and listening to how, and everybody's relating about their association and that, and getting to know more in that way.
Okay. So you didn't know Srila Charjamarj so well.
No, yes, I only got initiated in this year.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. You're still grasping everything.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're fortunate because, we are sad and feeling bereft that Srila Charjamarj has left us, but we have a strong community, and we have, we're fortunate we still have some strong stalwarts in our mission, you know, especially Srila Janardha Maharaj and Ashram Maharaj and others. So, you know, there's still much shelter that you can take at this time. So, yeah.
Yes, and from all of you and all devotees, I mean, everybody is just so amazing, and you know, the respect and humbleness and love. Yeah, it's beautiful to be in the mix.
Oh, well, we're very happy to hear your sincere expressions. And Madhavi is that Madhavi from Colombia? Are you there? I think it is. That's Rukmini's mother. Very, very sweet and long time devotee. Okay, well, I'll just finish with one thought for tomorrow, the Divine Appearance Day, Nishinga Day. What is the most significant point about this pastime is how much love the Lord has for his devotees. You know, the Nishinga Day, he appears in order to protect his pure devotee. And the significance of the devotee is something very much highlighted within that pastime. And also the significance of the practice of pure devotion, you know, devotion free from, there are many types of bhakti, many types of devotion, but pure devotion, unmixed with any, you know, personal selfish desire, that is exemplified in Prahlad Maharaj very beautifully, and he is described in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita as standing for the you know, he's highlighted as exemplifying the you know, the foundation of pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti. He's, you know, he's the prime example given of pure devotion. So these are a few thoughts on that pastime, and no doubt all of you in your respective places will be having some program of worship, whether individually or collectively. So, okay, well, very happy to meet with you all today, and hopefully we can meet again next week. You'd always for this opportunity to connect with you all. Especially
Jai
to
Vishakha Devi Dasi ki Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Chinmoy Dev Prabhu.
Prabhuji.